I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. This simple, powerful statement from Philippians 4:13 has resonated with millions. It's printed on coffee mugs and shared on social media. It's used to motivate athletes and encourage graduates. But is this how Paul intended it to be used? The truth is, this verse is often tragically misinterpreted. People often see it as a promise of worldly success. They believe that if they have enough faith, they can achieve anything. Want to win that championship? Just have faith. Want that promotion? Believe in Christ, and it's yours. This understanding misses the heart of Paul's message. He wasn't talking about bench pressing more weight or acing a job interview. Paul was speaking about a much deeper, more profound strength. It's the strength to endure, to persevere, to remain faithful even in the face of unimaginable suffering. Paul's words are not a guarantee of worldly success. Instead, they offer something far greater, the assurance of God's presence and power in the midst of our weaknesses. To understand the true meaning of Philippians 4:13, we must journey back to the source. Imagine Paul imprisoned for sharing the gospel, writing a letter to the Philippian church. He's chained to a Roman guard, his future uncertain, yet his spirit soars with hope and joy. Paul's life was a tapestry woven with threads of suffering. He was beaten, shipwrecked, and persecuted. He knew hunger, thirst, and agonizing pain, yet through it all he clung to his faith in Jesus Christ. Paul didn't shy away from sharing his hardships. In 2 Corinthians, he describes them in vivid detail. I've worked much harder, been in prison more frequently, been flogged more severely, and been exposed to death again and again. 5 times I received from the Jews the 40 lashes minus 1. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was pelted with stones. 3 times I was shipwrecked. I spent a night and a day in the open sea. These weren't mere inconveniences, they were brutal realities of a life dedicated to spreading the good news. And yet, amidst this suffering, Paul discovered an unyielding source of strength. The strength Paul describes isn't about achieving personal goals or conquering worldly challenges. It's about finding contentment and peace in the midst of suffering. It's about discovering that even when everything else is stripped away, we still have everything we need in Christ. In the verses leading up to Philippians 4:13, Paul reveals the secret of his strength. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. Paul had learned to find satisfaction not in his circumstances, but in his relationship with Christ. This contentment wasn't a passive resignation to fate, it was an active, vibrant trust in God's goodness and power. Paul knew that no matter what he faced, he could face it with courage and hope because Christ was with him. This is the heart of Philippians 4:13. It's not a promise of an easy life, it's a promise of strength for the journey, no matter how difficult that journey may become. Section 4, a thorn in the flesh. Paul's life offers a powerful example of finding strength in weakness. He spoke of a thorn in his flesh, a constant source of pain and affliction. We don't know the exact nature of this thorn, but we know it caused Paul great anguish. He pleaded with God to take it away, but God's answer was unexpected. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. God wasn't going to remove the thorn. Instead, he would provide the grace to endure it. This experience taught Paul a profound lesson. True strength isn't found in the absence of weakness. It's found in our dependence on God's grace. It's in those moments when we're weakest that Christ's power shines brightest. When we try to be strong in our own strength, we're bound to fail. But when we acknowledge our weakness and rely on God's power, we can endure anything. Section 5, strength for today. Paul's message speaks to us just as powerfully today. We live in a world filled with suffering and uncertainty. We face challenges that test our faith and push us to our limits. But amidst these trials, we have the same promise that sustained Paul. We have the assurance that Christ is with us, offering strength for every moment. His grace is sufficient for us no matter what we face. Philippians 4:13 isn't about becoming superhuman or achieving the impossible. It's about facing life's inevitable challenges with a supernatural strength that comes only from God. It's about discovering that in our weakness, His power is made perfect. So the next time you face a challenge, remember Paul's words. Remember that true strength isn't found in ourselves, but in the one who strengthens us. And know that no matter what you face, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.